Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah, page 10, says a person by the name of Elazar ben Durdia, who committed every sin known to man. There wasn't a woman that he wasn't with. Went with all types of prostitutes. Shem Achem, he had money and he had a big Yetzirah. One day, a high-priced prostitute that he had to travel for tells him something that he's never heard before. Tells him, somebody like you can never do tshuva. She's not exactly tzadikah. But when the Rasha tells you you're a Rasha, you have a problem. I know somebody that one time he got arrested. He tells me, it was the first time I got arrested. I didn't think it was such a big deal. Got arrested, big deal. Until the criminal that was also in a cell with me told me, what are you doing here? We're all criminals. What are you here for? And I realized I'm not a criminal. I just got into a fight or something. Whatever he did. He's like, that's when I realized there was something wrong with the picture. That's when I realized I don't belong here. When the prostitute is telling you you can't do tshuva, you have a serious problem, my friend. So Elazar ben Durdia took it to heart and ran to the mountains and started begging at the sky, asking the moon and the sun to pray for him. And they said, we're sorry. We have to pray for ourselves. So he screams to the sky, pray for me. Sorry, we have to pray for ourselves. Screams to the mountains, pray for me. We're sorry. First we have to pray for ourselves. So Chazal, the Bet Levi, asks a question. It's a very good question. What do they have to pray for? What sin do the mountains need to pray for? Okay, fine. The sun is an angel. It honors Hashem every day. The moon is an angel. It honors Hashem. Everything is an angel. Fine. But they're saying to Elazar ben Durdia that they have to pray for tshuva. What tshuva do they have to do? What? They went with the prostitutes. They stole. What did they do? So Bet Levi says an amazing chidush. He says, every single action that you do affects the world around you. How do we know? In the door of the flood, the generation of the flood of Noach, Chazal explains to us that Hashem had to destroy the entire world all the way up to the point that he had to take out, I believe it was 6 or 9 feet of ground and destroy that too.
Like lava, right?
The actual ground he had to destroy. Not just the people, not just the animals, but the actual ground itself he had to destroy. Why? What did the ground do? What did the animals do? So the animals all became residents of San Francisco, became homosexuals. And aside from being homosexuals, they started going from species to species. The zebra was with the lion was with the horse, Shem Achem. Everyone was going, nature was going against itself. Aside from that, the ground was continuing to swallow the blood of murder, which is either murder from physically murdering somebody or murder from wasting seed, hiding the crimes of the people. How did all of this happen? Because man is the reason why Hashem created the world. The actions of man affect the nature around him. Because man was so evil, the world around him became evil. The animals became evil, the trees became evil, the ground became evil, everything became evil. So Hashem had to destroy all of it. Because if it was just man, Hashem would just destroy man. What did the tree do? He said the tree became evil too. So when Elazar ben Dordia came to the mountain, he said, pray for me. He says, what pray for? All the sins you made, I have to do tshuva now. Look what you did to me. I have to do tshuva because of your sin. And he's not joking. He's not exaggerating. You wasted seed, I have to do tshuva. You know how many times people suffer without even knowing why, but in reality it's because of somebody else's sin? Sometimes you have appetite. You want to eat something. You want to eat, I don't know, carrot. You want to eat a cucumber. You're so hungry, you forget to pray. How many times a year you forgot to pray? You forgot to thank Hashem. So what do? You eat. Take a bite of the apple. Take a bite of the carrot. Take a bite of something. You probably never noticed it. But sometimes it happens. Shortly after you get into a little kriza. Shortly after you get a little angry. Doesn't always happen, obviously, but it happens. Shortly after you get into you're a little upset about something. Your mood's a little different. All of a sudden, curse comes out. You're not a guy that curses. You're not a girl that curses. You're classy. What happened? Where did this curse come from? What happened? Every single one of the words the holy books say goes up to Shamayim. It comes back down with the rain. The rain goes on the ground. Where does the rain go? It goes into your fruits, your vegetables, the food you eat. Sometimes those words are curses. They come back down. They go into the fruit. And the only thing that can protect you is the blessing. If you get to bless, you have no protection. No shield. Meaning, that F word that the guy said goes into your mouth. Has to come back out. The anger he had has to come in, has to come out. Whose fault is it? It's your fault. Why? Could have blessed. Could have just said, thank you Hashem, give me a shield. You're not really saying thank you Hashem. In reality, the thank you Hashem is, please protect me Hashem Erachem. Please protect me from me. Please protect me from him, and I don't even know he exists. So the mountains were telling Elazar ben Dordia, what'd you do to us? You want us to pray for you? We have to pray for ourselves. Anyone that's watching that doesn't believe in this stuff says, okay, it's all nice, it's a nice story. Give me some proof. There's a very famous proof. A Japanese doctor or scientist, Dr. Masuro Imoto, over 2 decades ago, wanted to prove that we're able to affect the world around us simply by our words. But how do you prove such a thing? So he decided to take petri dishes, little plastic dishes of water, and on one of them say nice things. You're beautiful, you're cute, you're funny, you're smart, all types of nice compliments. Another petri dish full of water to curse it out. I hate you, I'm going to kill you, all types of awful things to say. And then freeze it at negative 25 degrees Celsius. And then look it up in a microscope with 200 to 500 times. And the discovery was earth-shattering. Anyone that wants to see something amazing, the best, in my opinion, the most obvious proof that there's an intelligent design is simply by looking at snowflakes under a microscope. And you can look this up. You don't actually have to have a microscope anymore. You can look it up at everything at Rabbi Google. Go to Google, type in snowflakes under a microscope, and see what happens. And I'll show you pictures of what a snowflake looks like under a microscope. The design of each one is out of this world. It's mamash like the most genius architect in history, a genius designer in history, just made this snowflake. It's a snowflake. And you'll never find two snowflakes that are identical. Each one of them is more beautiful than the next, and they never look alike. They're all different. Each one has a fingerprint. Recently, science discovered that each drop of water actually has its own fingerprint. Each snowflake has its own design. So now, how do you look? You see it through a microscope. So Dr. Emoto, the Japanese non-Jewish doctor, non-Jewish scientist, wanted to see what happens to water when I curse it, water when I compliment it. When he saw the water that he complimented under the microscope after freezing it at negative 25 degrees Celsius, he sees the beautiful designs of the crystals of the water that are similar to what? Snowflakes. Stars of David, stars like this, stars like that. Beautiful, amazing stars. Amazing. Now it's time for the other one. Also, the ice looks exactly the same. This is a petri dish with ice. This is a petri dish with ice. They look exactly the same on the surface. The naked eye can't tell the difference. Unless he labeled it, he wouldn't know the difference. So now he looks at the water that he froze, but he cursed at that water. Looks exactly the same. Clear water, everything's the same. But under the microscope, it looks like death. Dark, ugly shapes. And not ugly because of bad taste. Ugly by anyone's definition. Strange shapes. Round, weird, and very, very dark. Showing us that just simply the words we're saying had an effect on water. For anyone who's thinking, scientists also said that most of our body is water. So if the dirty language we use affects the water outside of us, simply by cursing at it, it becomes dark and ugly and disgusting instead of beautiful, perfect stars. What is it doing to the stars inside us? What is it doing to the water inside us? A chemist student by the name of Tomer Rabiav attended some of Emoto's lectures and wanted to test it himself. But he wanted to test it differently. He wanted to take white beans and see what happens to them. So he took 3 beans. 1 bean, he would water it with regular water and then give it compliments. The 2nd bean, he would water it with regular water and curse it out. And the 3rd bean, he'd water it with regular water and read Tehillim, Psalms. The findings were even more amazing than he thought himself. Between the compliments and the curses, the findings were identical to what Emoto found. The one he gave compliments to, the bean grew up to be beautiful. Quickly, over the next couple of weeks, it grew to have a nice little stem. The one he cursed at, the bean died. Didn't grow anything. Just died. But the one he read Psalms to grew at nearly 4 times the size of the one that he gave compliments to. Showing us even further that Divrei Kodesh have even higher significance than anything else. And for anyone who doubts it, there was also a physicist by the name of Dr. Arik Navik, or Nave, that tested it exactly the same way, tested both of these tests himself, and got the same results, and even better yet, each and every single one of you at home can do the same test. You just have to have a neutral environment, meaning you have to make sure that you're the only one present next to these petri dishes or these beans or whatever you're growing, and no one else is interfering. Point being is that we learn here from Chazal, from Gemara Avodah Zarah, page 10, from nearly 2,000 years ago, that the simple words that come out of our mouth have an effect. Elazar ben Dordia realized that his situation was hopeless, and the only thing that he has left, now that he finally realized that not only has he sinned, because the only thing that led him to sin was his arrogance. His arrogance that made him believe that he could beat the system. His arrogance that made him believe that he is the system. He realized, I was wrong, I only came from a putrid drop. And now that this prostitute is reminding me that I won't be able to do tshuva, I realize that I'm also going to die soon. A year, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, it's all soon. Your life is like a corridor. Before you know it, it's gone. Then real life starts. He realized this. Everything hit him once. What do I have to do? I'm going to have to go meet my maker. What am I going to tell him? I went with every prostitute. I never prayed. I never did kriyat shema. I never thanked him. I used the tools that he gave me against him. What am I going to tell my maker? And his hopelessness, realizing that no one would even pray for him, not even the mountains, made him realize that the only thing he can do is cry himself to death. And that's what he did. He cried until he died. And Chazal says that a bat kol, a heavenly voice, came out from Shamayim, saying, Olam haba welcomes Rabbi Elazar ben Dordia.
Was he a Tana, this guy?
He was not a Tana, he was a Rasha Merusha. That he did tshuva. He did tshuva, complete tshuva in a moment. But the tshuva that he did, a lot of people say, use this as an example. See, somebody can do tshuva in a moment. It says that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rebbe, heard the bat kol also. Heard the bat kol. He knew Elazar ben Dordia. And he says, some people work their whole life, 70 years, to hopefully get a place in Olam Haba. And some people earn it in a moment. And some even have the benefit of having Shamayim call them Rabbi. How did this guy get it? Rabbi? How? Can you cry yourself to death?
Can't even cry myself to sleep.
Exactly my point. The tshuva that he did is not something that's feasible.
He's one in a billion.
The tshuva that he did, it's not something that is even possible in our generation. The tshuva that he did was something that literally, I mean, crying yourself to death. In an instant. Going from Rasha Merusha to Tzaddik, Yesod Olam. It's not normal. Point being is that once he realized that he has to pay din v'cheshbon, he woke up really, really quick.